Welcome to the Good Luck Luke, and here today I'm very excited to have Sarah, who is one of our patients currently undergo treatment, is here with us to share her story, journey, and where we are in terms of the fertility world, what it's like for fertility patients to go through that. So here is Sarah. Welcome so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So Sarah, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are. Okay. Why?
Who, what, where, when, why?
Yeah, who, when, why, how, you know.
My name is Sarah. I am a chef and a nutritionist, and I am currently going through treatment here, Generation Next, and I have been now for 2 years. So I've now done, I think, 7 retrievals, and we're moving toward the transfer. We did 1 transfer. We're about to do another one. I mean, that's like the brass tacks headline of me. So, you know, where we go from there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I know, and also we have Dr. Nejat here, who is your doctor and taking care of you all these years. So I just want to know, when did you start your journey?
Okay.
How do you choose Generation Next? Why are you here?
Why am I here? Yes. Okay, so it's funny because when it's like, when did I start my journey? It kind of feels like I started it 20 years ago when I donated my eggs. Right. When I moved to LA from Florida after college, I donated my eggs as an experiment of like twofold. One, I had a women's studies degree, so I was interested in surrogacy from like a feminist perspective. And also I was 22 years old and I needed money, you know, moving to LA to, you know, be an actress. So the twofold. And in that experience, the reproductive endocrinologist told me my FSH was very high for a girl in my 20s, and she told me I should consider freezing my eggs. But, you know, I'm 22. I just didn't think that this would be anything I needed to do. You know, I thought life would be whatever life was. So I'm like, that's okay. I'm not going to do it. Yeah, so that was that. My mom also went through menopause at 39. So there was always this lingering sort of fertility cloud following me. It makes me hot talking about it too, but so just ignore my red cheeks. If it happens, it's fine. So then when I was in my later 30s, like 36-ish, right at the beginning of COVID, actually, I was having hot flashes. So my mom's wife is a gynecologist. So I went down to see her and I'm like, will you just like run some stuff, see what's going on, since my mom went to menopause so early. And she got my numbers and she basically said, you're in perimenopause. Like it was kind of really intense the way she gave it to me, and not, you know, but that happened. And I really wanted to be a mother at that point. I was single. A few years before that, I considered doing it by myself. I actually went to another of the big clinics and it just felt like, okay, too much. So I grieved that I was never going to have a kid. Wow. And I meant it, and I believe it was fine. Like I got through it, truly. Of course, then in that space, I meet my future husband, you know, when I'm like, you know, not before that, it was just, I was dating all these losers and it was just awful. And it's like, I don't care, just make me a mom. And then I meet a good guy and he really wanted to have kids. So it made me like rip off that Band-Aid. And I was the reluctant one, actually.
How old were you at that point?
I'm like, we started dating when I was 38. So I'm 42 now. So I was saying to him, like at the beginning of a relationship, I'm like, I might have a problem getting pregnant. Like we need to think about this. Like we're not even engaged. I'm like, if you want to be like, this is like tick-tock. Right. So, and he's very slow. I'm very fast, you know, like it's so, you know, it took him a while to like catch up with this. And then after we got engaged, you know, we were planning on getting married the summer of 2023. And we started with Generation Next, January 2023. So yeah, the idea was to get as many embryos as we could, you know, bang and freeze. So that's kind of the long of it. I chose Generation Next because I actually went to another clinic first and I really liked the doctor. And then I kept on I had like in 1 week, 3 different friends recommend Generation Next. Just random, like it was just very bing, bang, boom. And so it felt kismet-y. So that's why I came here.
Everything has to be aligned.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. So
and then you met Dr. Nejat, I would assume. I'm going to ask Dr. Nejat some questions, but in terms of the cycles, I bet it's like, how do I say, it's like very anxiety provoking. You know your timing is ticking.
Yeah.
And you met someone.
Yeah.
Now you may want to have a child. And I don't, your significant other may want or may not ready for a child. Yeah. How do you face that kind of anxiety, and how do you talk to your partner? Because I don't know, I see both male and female, when they come to me, a partner, some of the partner I'm looking, some partner are very in tune with the menstrual, they even have the flow app in his
that's funny.
Calendar. And I was like, okay, because she'd be like, ask him when my period comes. Oh, okay, when her period comes.
Yeah.
How heavy it is, And so I just want to hear, like, how's that communication with your partner? Because it does takes two to to have, it's a project of two to have a baby.
Totally. I think one of the great things about meeting your person when you're a little older, is like, you kind of cut through all the BS and you understand like what your strengths are as a couple. And I am actually the really like fastidious, on top of it, organized one. And he goes with the flow a little more. So he will do any research, I ask, and he's very engaged in that, but it's kind of, I'm the one on top of it. Anxiety provoking, yes, very, very much so. But that's kind of my MO.
And you used to do cycling regularly. You were like, there was no skipping cycles, I
don't know. We kind of did. A lot of times I didn't have a follicle. So I was coming in every week just to see if I had one. We're working with one.
I know.
One single guy every time. So the cadence has been coming in every week just for monitoring and seeing if we got a follicle. Luckily, Kyle, we both have flexibility in our schedule. So he probably would get like the crown of the husband who comes here the most.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, like he has been here.
I don't think I've seen you many times without him.
I know, only a handful of times has he not come with me. So he is because just that alone, he's very engaged in this process. Yeah, he's probably, I don't know how many times I've been here. He's probably missed like 5 or 6 of my appointments.
And Zara, do you have mindful? Do you remember some? I saw your chart already.
Yeah.
The numbers and how high FSH can go.
Oh God, yeah.
How low is the AMH?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Some of the audience are very.
That's true. That's true. Yes, that's really good. So my okay. So I remember when I'm gonna go a little far back with this.
Please.
When I was in my 20s, my FSH was almost 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what I remember the doctor saying was my FSH was the same as a woman in her 40s. And so that was like, oh, okay. My AMH was, I think it was 0.1 when I was in my mid 30s. And then now the last, I think it was 0.08. So very low AMH, but that one, that's not great, but I know it's quality, not quantity.
Mm-hmm.
However, then you have an FSH upwards in the 40s.
Mm.
I think mine has been like, that's the kind of the cap.
And how long were you on that? Because now you're 42, right? But in your early 30s, were you already a little bit elevated?
Yeah, I don't know my FSH. I knew my FSH at 22 and then not again until like 38. When my stepmom did it, it was, I think, like in the 30s. And my estrogen was like not detectable. Mm-hmm. So that's often been the thing, hence the hot flashes. And I'm still going through waves of the hot flashes. So I'm really this is where it feels the most lonely. I am very perimenopausal. And so the Venn diagram and where the overlap of fertility treatment and menopause, that's awful. And there are not enough like Reddit groups for that subsect, because even at 41, 42, a lot of women have a better situation than, fertility, or there's fingerprints. It's all different, but
that you said it very nicely. It is so hard. And you had to have that tough conversation with your partner about, hey, I have something called diminished ovarian reserve or hypertrophy. And how did he take it? What was he?
Oh man, he's great. He took it like a champ. He's just a really good guy, and he wanted to just work together and really knows that I know my body the best, and whatever I think is best for my body is what we'll do. So much compassion, so much love. I really got a good one.
I'm so happy for you. This is so important. The journey.
Yeah.
I've seen lots of patients alone going through a journey, also with partner, but partner may not be as engaged. And so I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'll say too with the diminished ovarian reserve, it's so interesting too, and even with my numbers, like just really to stress how much they fluctuate. I mean, they really do, and for whatever reason, the FSH, even sometimes before I start a cycle, it will be 12, so it really it's like, I mean, I guess that's the peri for you too, but yeah.
And so, Dr. Nejat, how you met Sarah? I mean, Sarah's not coming here with all the hopes and dreams. There's lots of pressure. I was there, but I want you to express to the audience how it feels, because now you need to make me pregnant, get me pregnant with the remaining eggs, how many, 5, 4, 1, you better get the egg. And how did you counsel success rate? How did you handle expectations, and what are the obstacles that you see in patient with diminished ovarian reserve?
It's interesting that you mentioned that Venn diagram of people who are trying to get pregnant at a perimenopausal state is so limited, and there doesn't seem to be a community out there online of people in that circumstance, because we actually do have a lot of patients in those circumstances here.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And Dr. Luk, the whole practice has seen and taken care of a lot of patients in that group. So I'm really glad that you're sharing this, and I hope that others will benefit from this. But it's tough, of course. I mean, statistically, it's really hard. And I know we had those conversations several times throughout the process, early on, after every cycle. Yeah. But at the same time, there is hope, and there are chances that are quite real. And I think that it's really important to hang on to that to help get through the process.
Yeah.
It's my personal approach as a physician in trying to help women and couples get through this.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know Kyle reasonably well at this point, and I echo obviously everything you say about him. From my perspective, he is among the most supportive of partners, which is really beautiful to see. And I think that I'm sure that helps to a certain degree.
Oh yeah, it does. And no matter what your support is, it still is lonely.
Yeah.
And it does feel isolating. And like what you're saying too with the statistics, something I always think too, it's like they suck, right? Like, the numbers suck. But it's kind of either 100% or 0%. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, anything else is just,
I agree with that. And I think that going through this process that you've been going through for the past couple of years with us is so critical to getting to the next phase, whatever that brings us.
Yes.
There are a lot of practices that will not offer this type of treatment for women at this age group with this type of ovarian reserve. And here we just don't think that is fair or right.
Yeah.
And, you are the one to really steer the boat in terms of what direction you want to go with your journey. Mm-hmm. And we're here as experts to help you through it from a medical standpoint, scientific standpoint, from an emotional standpoint to a certain degree. From my perspective, it's challenging to not get to provide the emotional support that I want to, but not put too much into it where it can become challenging from a physician perspective as well. So I hope that I give you what you need and dance that line well.
Oh my God, yeah, of course. I mean, I think totally, I feel very seen and supported by you. And I have these past couple of years, 100%. And I think too, that is something that is so unique about this Generation Next is, I mean, so many other places would just be like donor eggs, would have there's no autonomy actually of well, let me try, let me see. And that is something that is so unique. It is such a personalized approach to care. And I really do feel like I get to, with the guidance, with you guys' guidance, I get to make the decision when it feels good for me, which feels really empowering too,
And Dr. Nejat, do you, how was the highest FSH you have treated? all the way to have a baby. And what kind of expectations, because as you know, on Instagram and on other YouTube, IVF is very easy. It's day 1, stimulate,
Exactly.
day 14, retrieved. But obviously, patient with premature ovarian failure or diminished ovarian reserve, they don't have that kind of cycle. So can you give a little kind of an overview of what a patient has to deal with extreme, with a high FSH, and also some of the outcomes you have had and have seen?
Yeah, sure. High FSH, low AMH, undetectable AMH in certain circumstances, FSH in the 30s, 40s, 50s, we've had success with. These levels, FSH certainly fluctuates, as you mentioned earlier. AMH not quite as much, but at the end of the day, if there is an egg that's available to go for, there's a chance of a baby. And that's really the philosophy that we stand by. And we've had a lot of successes, and we've had a lot of patients who have not been successful.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased that we still have a couple of embryos frozen, and those are real chances that, we're going to have to see.
Yeah, we have no idea, and I think it's been I've done everything here. We basically have done some months where it's kind of been timed intercourse. We've done IUI. I feel like I've, we're throwing lots of spaghetti at the wall.
Right. And you've had a PRP consult with them.
Yep, I've done that.
Consider that more of an experimental option.
Yeah.
But we're certainly trying everything under the sun to make this work. You're doing acupuncture.
I do acupuncture. I'm mindful of my diet and stress. Been meditating.
Yeah.
So I think this round too, as we, go into this next transfer, which now we're going to do 2 embryos, which we haven't done because they're 3 days. I'm really trying to throw in my mental well-being into the game too. But it's so hard because part of me is I know at the end of the day, it comes down to kind of the egg. Was it a good egg? But then it's okay, what can I, you feel so out of control in this when you're going through IVF. So it's what can I do to make me have some sort of semblance of control? And at the end of the day, find a little peace in the process and not be, I was so cocky in 2023. I'm when I was really talking about it with people and I was I'm not interested in the outcome. It's more of the process, but it's so hard. It's impossible not to be invested in the outcome as well, so, but I think staying focused on the process has been helpful too, because it allows me to be present in what's going on. And 2024 was a hard year with the fertility, some real hard. And, and it got to the point where it's this is my life. I'm in my 40s. This is my life. I still have to have fun and be in pleasure and present in my life. I don't know how long this is going to go on.
Right.
And still don't. I have my plan all the time of when I think we're done, but it never, fertility never works out the way I want it to. I'm we'll know by summer. I don't know. Probably not, So.
But it is fascinating. I was just looking at the trajectory. So whatever the cause of this diminished ovarian reserve, they don't decline the way that I see other patients decline, as in either because of chemo or other reasoning, or take out an ovary, or they did a big endometriosis surgery and the ovarian reserve. If you have no reason that you are kind of idiopathic, we don't know why that you will have a diminished ovarian reserve and there's no fragile eggs, nothing is involved. It stays steady. And you have told me, Dr. Luk, I was already kind of going through those elevated FSH or AMH very low, but then when I come back, it's 0.08, but then it was not that great. 20 years ago, it's not it was 2.1 and then keep on dropping. You also very low at 0.1.
Yeah.
So 0.1 is very low. 10 years later, we're about the same. And you still, I just saw the chart that you ovulated because you were planning for a histo.
Yeah, I was
so
for histo
I was
yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. And I was the on-call doctor. So I'm no histo. She may be pregnant, I don't know, maybe it would be a surprise.
I know, that would be the best surprise.
It's nothing, not. I said, wait till she have her here. So I was okay, this bad,
you never know.
Right, you never know.
I know. I come in, I'm okay, it's going to be dust bunnies in there, and then there's a follicle. Like you just never know.
And do you do so I know you mentioned nutrition and yourself a very health conscientious person. What are the things that you do to alleviate some of the do you do acupuncture?
I did. I mean, through all of 2023 and all of 2020, like almost all of 2024, I was going to acupuncture at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. And then you get burnt out a little bit too with doing things, So, but yeah, I am fortunate enough to have like a meal delivery business that I own, so I can eat food from that. So it's very nutrient dense food that I eat. I exercise, so I do the best. I've been through tons of supplements. I really don't love taking a lot of supplements. It's just not my MO. So it's just mainly prenatal.
Do you focus on, because I know people talk about hot flashes and some of my patients talk about it a lot, bone density, because your estrogen is so low. Yeah. So, I'm going to go to Dr. Nejat, final closing about what are the things we need to worry about in terms of health-wise with diminished ovarian reserve. But what do you focus on certain diet? I know there's some nutrition, like flat seeds or black cohosh.
I've done a lot of, the black cohosh. I did that years ago, actually, when I was having my first menopause symptoms of hot flashes. But no, I do a lot of flax seeds, but in my opinion, I think it's more about having a varied diet, very well-rounded in moderation and varied with like every color, all the seeds, all the nuts, all the vegetables, all the legumes, all the whole grains, instead of just getting hyper fixated on one thing. Mm-hmm. I just think that can end up kind of wreaking havoc, or it causes another avenue of stress, when we're just like hyper focused on one thing. So I just think I try to be more well-rounded with the diet.
And your hot flashes is very young when you start struggling.
Oh my God, yeah.
How old were you?
So I was, I guess, 37.
Wow.
I know. And it was, oh my God, they're awful. And they come in and out. So now I know, if they're going away, my estrogen's going up. Maybe I have a follicle, So I'm like doing my own detective work. But I was having them really bad. I was actually going to be like, I don't even know if, do we need to go into estrogen or something way before my, I've been scared to do that without like progesterone, whatever. So,
right.
So yeah, they just stopped a couple weeks ago. So, but they
can last long. How long is your hot flashes if it's epic?
An actual hot flash, like it's probably about a minute, but it's so all encompassing. It's just the heat radiates from inside the head outwards, and you just have to strip, so it's just your clothes have to come off. It's just, have you experienced any yet?
No, not yet. I think I can. It will happen soon.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm opposite. I'm dying for that because I have endometriosis.
Oh, so yeah. Yeah, you're
I
like,
don't know why I'm suffering,
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that was another. So they're awful. Yeah, and my mom had them really bad, so I'm assuming I'm kind of in for it.
How many episodes per day?
Oh my God, at its peak, it seems like it's happened a few times when I've gone to Italy too. Like I remember being on the plane and like having to take my pants off on the plane, then put them back on, take them off. It could be 20 episodes in a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the night sweats, it's just like, and I always thought it would be better in the winter to have hot flashes because, it's cold.
Yes, right.
But then you strip and you're freezing. So it's actually worse, at least in the summertime, if you're sweating, it's hot, who cares, know? And then if you're on the train with like layers, it's just, I don't wish hot flashes on anyone. They're awful.
But it's many years because
but it's on and off. So I had them at 37 for a couple months, and then I didn't have them for years. I didn't have them again until like December 2023.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's the acute change that sometimes can trigger the hot flashes. But and this I hear a lot.
Yeah.
Like they had it and then they die down.
Yeah.
And then they will have it, maybe the estrogen drop again.
So that's like peri, right? I guess that is.
That's exactly what peri is.
Yeah, it's like you're fine for a while, and so like navigating that and fertility treatment is really hard. But yeah, so it's been more consistent and my period is getting to be less regular.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about it. Actually, this is where I'm going to get back to Dr. Nejat, which is the regularity of the period and how that in standard way is 12 cycles, 12 months.
Yeah.
So you were 37, 38, 39. So how did that change from 12 to what? What number?
Yeah, that's such a good question. So my period was always very regular my whole life, from 12. I mean, when you first start your period, it's a little not as regular. But once I was in my 18, I was on birth control for a little bit, hated how I felt on it, got off of it. So I haven't been on birth control really. And my period was like clockwork every 26 days, 4 days of a bleed. I mean, it was so beautifully predictable. And even when I donated my eggs and the FSH was high, when I saw my gynecologist, she's like, I asked her about it. She's like, your period's regular. Don't worry about it, if it's regular. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I didn't know. So, okay. Was regular until I was about 36, 37. And then it would be maybe 1 month a year. It was like 40 days.
Okay.
And so then it's such a slow change that you don't really realize it's happening. It's like the frog in room temperature water slowly going up to a boil. Right. That's what the period change has been for me. And now it's markedly missing, MIA, so it's more of a shock that I'm gonna have my period. And since I know I ovulated, like I'm either pregnant or I'm gonna have a period, and it's like, oh, whoa, I forget I haven't had a period in like 3 months now. And in fact, it's funny, in 2024, because of all the fertility treatments and all the like hormones and everything, I only had one natural period. Everything else was from
medications and so forth. But you did spontaneous ovulate recently.
Yeah. And so I did a couple months ago too. I got a puppy and I'm like, maybe that's kind of helping because it's making me go into the like mommy vibes, caretaker.
So what's your trick, Dr. Nejat?
Yeah,
how
really.
do you get the egg?
Yeah.
How do we even track it with this kind of irregular cycle?
So it's really working with Sarah's body and taking the cues from your body in terms of if we see a follicle developing and estrogen increasing, of course, we monitor you more closely and really hone in on that single follicle, maybe use some low-dose injectable medications to try to maximize the chance that we get that egg. And in situations where the ovaries are very quiet, estrogen is low, FSH is higher, sometimes we'll use estrogen to help bring FSH down, which can have the added benefit of alleviating some of those symptoms that you've been having.
Yeah. And it's been, I mean, we've gotten almost every egg.
Yeah.
There's one. Just one time we didn't.
Yeah.
Just one time. But all the other times we get the egg, So, but I guess that is common, the ovulating prematurely that can happen with the retrievals.
Yeah, it can happen with any retrieval, and it is more likely to happen when egg reserve is lower and when there's just...
Do you give estrogen, birth control pills, or anything to stabilize? Or
we do estrogen. We've tried...
We did birth control like one time. I don't remember. But yeah, mainly estrogen. The patch.
Yeah.
And so there will be irregular bleeding when there's withdrawal from the birth control pill, sometimes spotting.
Yeah. That's definitely part of the process, especially when we're using the birth control pill.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but for me, we haven't really done that.
No.
Uh-huh. Yeah, once a week monitoring is usually, I hear you was sharing that you will be coming here once a week, see where the FSH is and estrogen and so forth.
And there was even a couple times where I had one time 2 follicles, one time 4 follicles, but one time we actually got 2 follicles, but it was, the second one didn't make it, the egg. I mean, you got 2 eggs, but
So Sarah, I know we're getting to the end of this, but one thing you want to share with the audience, with our patients who are either going through it or who just got diagnosed diminished ovarian reserve, like what are the things you want to share with the audience?
I think there's a couple things. One, I cannot recommend enough to freeze your own eggs. I mean, really, really, I wish that it was paid for in this country for part of healthcare, you know, if you go to college or whatever, you get that. I think we just don't know how life is going to pan out, and you think that there's always going to be time. So I am a huge advocate for freezing your own eggs, just as a reserve, you know, just who knows, you know, insurance. And then as far as DOR, and I mean, I guess, you know, I'm still in it, so it's hard. I think finding people you can talk to about this is really, really important. And I think it just gets, you know, piled on top, like the stress and the anxiety and the struggle and the loneliness just gets stacked and stacked and stacked when you're not sharing with people. No matter who it is, if it's just a small group of friends or whatever, you have to talk about it, I think, or journal about it. So, you know, I've really been vocal about it, and I've had so many people reach out to me being like, thank you for sharing, you know, because people often share after the fact, you know.
That's right.
Then you find out, oh, this person went through IVF, but it's only when they're successful.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Or most of the time only when they're successful.
Yeah.
And so just the power of the share, you know, it's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with you if you have DOR or you're going through IVF, you know, it's like, there's no shame.
Thank you, Sarah. That was so insightful. Thank you. Really, that is really helpful. I am just, when you're talking, I'm thinking about my patient. It's like, Dr. Luk, I'm getting my wherever degree.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to tell you what you need.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Knowledge. We need to have more knowledge around all
Right.
this. Like, this needs to be just like a literacy that everybody has, you know, women have, that is taught, you know, about their bodies.
Yes, education, empowerment, empathy, which is at our Gen Next meeting. So, well, thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing, you know, your story, and thank you, Dr. Nejat, for joining us.
Thank you.
Really
Thank
amazing.
you for having me.
Thank you.
Always great to see you, Sarah.
You too.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.